Good afternoon. It is good to see you all here. Can you hear me? Good, good. And wasn't that bird song beautiful? 3 points if you can tell what kind of song it was. No fair, family can't answer. Starts with an M. It's 2 words put together. Yeah, you get your points. You get your point. Back there? Awesome, very good. Round of applause. And as we begin today, I want to ask you to do something that you probably haven't been asked to do at a memorial service. Not just keep your mask on, that's out of respect for the family. But I'm going to ask you to stand up. Betsy is out in a car because she's suffering with COVID, as you may or may not know. And I would love for us to be able to stand and move a little forward. There's a camera right back there, and I'll give you more instruction. Stand up and move forward a little bit. Keep your masks on. And turn around. Those of you in the back, you won't be seen, so come on a little. I promise I won't make you stand at the microphone. There we go. Awesome. And on 3, wave, hearts, say hello. She can hear us. Betsy, we love you. We love you. And you may be seated. We're going to continue that enthusiasm at the end of the service by doing a walk-by. You know, we've all learned how to do those in COVID, right? Where we go and we put our hand on the glass and touch hands through the glass, or we, heart to the person. So she's right outside in a white car. You'll be able to find her easily, and we'll do a little parade at the end to express our love for her. It was really important for Betsy that we go ahead with this service to honor Tom today, despite her diagnosis. And as you can see, everyone is taking precautions. I'll have my mask back on when I'm seated back there. So thank you all for your sensitivity and for your kindness and for your compassion being here. I welcome you officially to this very safe place, this sanctuary where we gather to give thanks for the life of Thomas Byron Stevenson, beloved brother, husband, father, uncle, grandfather, colleague, and friend. You represent that community that loves Tom. You love him still, and he loves you still. That's the really great news. Death does not end love. And so it is fitting that you, as his community of beloveds, gather here in this particular place, a place that looks out on the greenery. And you may see a hawk soar, or look out there and see a bunny hop. And the people up here that are speaking will take no offense at all if your eyes wander, because you're looking through the eyes of love. This is a place built after Tom's own heart and his love for the natural world. For as we shall fondly recall this afternoon, we are here to honor a man who honored life by his own living, who brought gardens to abundance, who welcomed winged ones and four-legged ones as his friends, and who, in his very quiet way, dedicated himself to honoring earth and her many gifts. So I welcome you to this time of remembering, celebrating, honoring one of life's truly great men, Tom Stevenson. A couple of other little instructions. Again, please keep your masks over your nose and mouth, hands and arms inside the vehicle at all times. Out of respect for the family, please keep your mask on when you're greeting them in the reception time. And as I mentioned, we'll do a little walk-by at the end. I'll lead out with the family, and we'll go right out to the car. Sound okay, Rachel? Yeah? Fabulous. So Betsy, get ready. We're going to be there soon. And I also want to remind you, if you have a cell phone, like who doesn't, right? Please silence it. Completely silence it so we don't get calls. Tom won't need it to get through to us today, so just turn them off. All right. We're going to head now over to the candles. and light 5 candles representing earth, air, water, fire, and spirit. Those elements that hold us together, that we all share in common, elements that we shared in common with Tom, and that were staples in his life. So we'll light a candle first for the element of earth, that which is solid beneath us, that solid piece of ground that we can stand on. And for Tom, home and garden, where he played and created and grew from seed a host of joyful gifts, where he delighted in bugs to birds and beyond. From an early age, Tom loved nature. He loved being outside, and the gardens he so lovingly tended thrived with his care. You know that. So we give thanks for the way that Tom was grounded and is grounded in the life that he lives. We light a candle for the element of air, representing that breath of fresh air that is so much needed every day. For Tom, that breath of fresh air was helping many of you, probably each one of you at some time or another, from being a rainbow dad, to donating to his local library, to being available to neighbors who benefited from his ability to build or fix nearly anything. Tom quietly made his way into the hearts of many who didn't even know they needed his help until it was right there in front of you, yeah? We give thanks for the breath of fresh air that Tom brings to life. We light a candle for the element of fire, representing that passion, that warmth that is a part of a person. For Tom, that passion was music. He hummed along to the blues, shared music with Rachel on your drives to doctor appointments, played music at their home with wild abandon. Tom found joy and comfort in music, and I'm told the louder, the better. So Paul, feel free to crank it up when it's your turn. We give thanks for the element of fire in Tom's life, and light a candle for the element of water, that thing that nourishes us every single day. And for Tom, of course, it was family. As a younger brother, as a husband, as a father and uncle and grandfather, Tom loved you all. His thoughtful gifts to you, planned, I'm told, and purchased and wrapped, thank you very much, months ahead of time, were the means by which you know how much he loved you. And, fun fact, your delight gifted him in return. So it was a mutual exchange and a loving one. We give thanks for the element of water and the nourishment that Tom will continue to bring to your life, even though he has crossed the veil. Finally, we light a candle for the element of spirit, that essence of a person, that personality it's sometimes called. And as I listened to the family stories, it became very clear that the title so fondly given him throughout his life, Renaissance Man, fits here. Here's a person with wide-ranging interests, one who could take a small sliver of an idea, however simple or complex, and create a thing of beauty right in front of your very eyes, a thing of priceless value, a gift, really, from an idea generated and worked with his own hands and heart, one who helped you make memories that now bring you peace and comfort. So I invite you to be present here in this time, to leave aside the rest of the day's concerns, and to be present here to give thanks and to honor this amazing life, so very well lived. The family has asked for a couple of spiritual readings to be shared. And so I share with you 2 readings that were shared years ago at Gloria's funeral memorial service here. First, from 1 Corinthians 13. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to move mountains, but do not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have and deliver my body to be burned, but do not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful. Love is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. Love does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. There are 3 gifts that have been given us, says the apostle who wrote those words. They are faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these, by far and away, you know the answer to that one, is love. The second reading comes from Khalil Gibran, and it's from his very famous book, The Prophet, entitled On Death. Or maybe it's On Death. Maybe that's how we ought to be reading that, huh? Then Al-Mitra spoke. The student spoke, saying, "We would ask you now of death." And the teacher replied, "You would know the secret of death? But how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? The owl whose night-bound eyes are blind unto the day cannot unveil the mystery of light. If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life, for life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your silent knowledge and beyond. And like seeds dreaming beneath the snow, your heart dreams of spring. Trust those dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. Your fear of death is but the trembling of the shepherd when he stands before the king whose hand is to be laid upon him in honor. Is the shepherd not joyful beneath his trembling that he shall wear the mark of the king? Yet is he not more mindful also of his trembling in that moment? For what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its reckless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then you shall truly dance. Now we get to hear some beautiful music.
They paved paradise and put up a parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Well, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Ooh, papa. Ooh, ba, ba, ba. They took all the trees and put them in a tree museum. And they charged those people $1.50 just to see them. Well, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Hey, farmer, farmer, put away the DDT now. Give me the spots on my apples, but leave me the birds and the bees. Please, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Late last night I heard the screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Well, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Don't it always seem to go, you don't know what you got till it's gone? Yeah, they paved paradise and put up a parking lot. I said they paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Thank you, Mary. I would invite the speakers to prepare to come forward and remind you each to speak well into the microphone, lean into it so that Betsy can hear out in the car. And we first get to hear from Tom's sister, Mary.
Thomas Byron Stevenson. I'm Mary, his big sister. I was very disappointed at Tom's birth. I was 11. I had 2 brothers already, and I wanted a sister. And I got stuck with the 3rd brother. He turned out to be pretty wonderful. It didn't take me long to learn to love and cherish him. Tom was called Tom Mouse as an infant. He became Tom Tom. He became Tommy. And by the time he was 5, he was Tommy Salami, for those who were close to him. But his middle name, which he never used, he lived out. His middle name is Byron, which was my dad's name. And he was very much like my dad. All my brothers are. Physically. They have long feet, long, tall bodies, tender, knowing, nimble hands that can fix things and touch animals and give tenderness. And the Stevenson ears, which tend to fit like this. So, catch the wind, that we said. He also acted like my dad. Generations of my family have been farmers with some school teachers thrown in too. So we were really grown up in that tradition of nurturing and taking care of. Tom shared with my dad and his brothers and the whole family a love of many things: baseball, gardening. Both my dad would grow roses for my mom as well as fruit trees, and Tom did the same thing for his wife, Betsy. Flowers for her bouquets in the spring. Foxglove, larkspur, beautiful flowers. He also loved living creatures. He had a passion, which I never shared, but he shared with his brothers, for reptiles. He, on his last, 3 days before his death, he was worried about his boa, the rosy boa constrictor. And his brother Bill said he would take care of him. Tom was afraid that the poor thing was not eating well. So He loved dogs. He loved insects. He had a great passion for giraffes. San Diego Zoo was one of his favorite places. He took care of, and I would include our species in that, family and friends. He was a man of little words. Shy, laconic, but he loved through gestures and loving. And he loved birds above all. His backyard right now, there's a cage with a couple of finches, a very old hen, and a pigeon with a broken wing, one of many birds that were brought to his house to see if he could rescue and save them. This is a memory of him as a very small child. I think, looking back, he may have been all of 7, maybe 8, maybe even younger. Tom had a strange, powerful gift. As a small child, he could lie on the ground and wait on his belly until a bird would come by. The sparrows, say, would land. And then he would start inching forward. I wouldn't even say an inch, just a little tiny bit. And then he could reach his hand out, both of them, and he could cup a bird. He did not terrify the bird, nor do I think he did it freeze in shock. But he sort of held that bird. And then he let his hands go, and the bird would fly back to its own business, onto its next seat. And I have been thinking a lot about that memory of Tom and his birds as a little boy. Rachel and I were with him when he died, and we were chatting over him. We had held his hands, we had talked to him, and his breathing was easier, and we were just chatting. And before we knew it, he slipped through our fingers. And it was an odd sense. It was a sense in which, you think of birds, you think of flying away, the spirit flying away, or raptors seizing, or incredible beauty of music of the birds, or the freedom of the wing. But it occurred to me that what Rachel and I and those of us in the room got from Tom was he gave us that other thing that birds can give, which is taking you under the bird's wing, to hold you against its heart, let you feel the softness and the warmth and the security of being loved. And that was Tom, the Birdman.
I would invite John to come forward. Do you want me to wipe this off? That's okay. Okay.
I had to number my pages. My name is John Sarmiento, and Tom was my friend. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Leave it to me.
Lean really, really close.
Okay.
There you go.
How's that? I sound like Elvis now.
I know, right?
First off, I'd like to offer my condolences to Betsy, Brother Tom, Sister Mary, Lily and Chloe and all the nieces for the loss of a good man way too early. I've been honored to speak at one of these memorials once or twice, and this one might be the toughest. Tom defined strong and silent. In my eyes, I think he was Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter, Bill Nye the science guy, and Gary Cooper all rolled up into one. We met when he first started with the department. It might have been 92, 93, somewhere in there. And I didn't know at the time that I was going to meet a lifelong friend. Tom was a know-it-all, but you would never know it by his personality or his demeanor. Again, the strong, silent type. He would help you in any way he could. He would answer your questions in that same quiet Stevenson style. He was a lover of Southwest art, pottery, native pottery. I can remember us in the store one time in an art show in Prescott, Arizona. And he pointed out to me that because of the style, that it wasn't native, that it was likely to be Korean or made in China. And back where I live, they'll string you up for something like that, you know. But he pointed it out, and just, he whispered to me so as not to offend anybody in the store. And my mouth just, I says, how does this guy know that stuff, you know? He just always amazed me. Betsy had asked me, what kind of music, what kind of songs do you think Tom would like? Well, everybody here, or that knew Tom, as mentioned earlier, knew that he was a blues guy. And I'm not talking like the Four Tops or the Temptation. He liked that down and dirty Chicago blues. I mean, that da-dun-dun-dun, and that was Tom playing it loud on our trips. And I grew to love it. I grew to like it. And I know at these occasions you're supposed to be positive and uplifting with your choice of music, you know, but it's hard to find positive and uplifting with B.B. King singing "The Thrill Is Gone" or the Allman Brothers, you know, tied to the whipping post, you know. There's not a lot of positive there. But I grew to like it, and another thing that I'm appreciative to my friend for. What I'd like to say about him is that everybody knows that he was a man of great character, honesty, and a deep sense of humility. And he will greatly be missed, my friend Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I invite Lily and Zoe to come forward and share with us.
She's got a smile that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories, where everything was as fresh as the bright blue sky. Now and then when I see her face, she takes me away to that special place. And if I stare too long, I'd probably break down and cry. Oh, sweet child of mine. Oh, sweet love of mine. Eyes of the bluest skies, as if they thought of rain. I'd hate to look into those eyes and see an ounce of pain. Her hair reminds me of a warm, safe place where as a child I'd hide and pray for the thunder and the rain to quietly pass me by. Oh, sweet child of mine. Oh, sweet love of mine. Oh, sweet child of mine. Sweet love of mine. Sweet love of mine. Whoa, oh, sweet love of mine. Sweet love of mine. Oh, 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 sweet love of mine. Love you, Mama. Oh, 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 Where do we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go? Oh, 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 oh. Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go? Sweet child, where do we go now? Where do we go? Sweet child, where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go? We go. Where do we go? sweet child of mine.
Thank you both so much. I think it's time for Rachel.
I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. And I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. With you. What a wicked game you play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do to let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say that you never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do to make me dream of you. And I wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. With you. The world was don't fall in love. Okay.
Hi, I'm Amber. I'm a friend of Betsy and Tom and the family. Yeah, I think so, thank you. Quite some months ago, Betsy put together a collection of family stories, and she asked if I would read a little bit about her relationship with Tom from her book. So this is her voice. We've now been married for 30 years. I've continued to learn so much from Tom. He always made me feel confident that I could be a successful teacher. He has brought stability and order to my life. He makes me feel totally safe, and he knows real information, like how to use tools and build things, and like the true Eagle Scout he is, he can repair broken things by carefully figuring it out, step by step. I feel like he helped me with my broken self, too, by his calm, grounded way of working through any challenge, and by finding solutions to problems that give me terrible anxiety. Tom also has been surprising as he still continues to learn and teach me new things. He has researched and educated himself about Native American pottery and has created and curated his beautiful collection of Pueblo and Mexican pottery. He began collecting art from thrift stores and has found some lovely paintings and prints by listed artists, so our home is full of original art and favorite pictures. He belongs to many different organizations, and some examples are the Smithsonian, Audubon Society, Sierra Club, Nature Conservancy, and the Wildlife Federation. He donates money to the local library every year. It is easy for me to like shallow things such as fashion, movie stars, and other trivia, but Tom has helped me to continue learning more about the natural world around us. Over the years, we belonged to the San Diego Zoo, the local native plant garden, the Huntington and the Autry, and visited the Living Desert in Palm Desert for our yearly anniversary celebration. We have been to Yosemite, Grand Canyon, Casa Grande, Canyon de Chile, Tour House, and we climbed up into Hawk Tower. We have been to aquariums, found Doc's lab in Cannery Row, and been to Beatrice Wood's home and ceramic studio. A favorite trip included Mohonk in New York, the Hudson River Valley, and Gustav Stickley's historic home full of his beautiful oak arts and crafts furniture, and the Shaker Village with the round barn. The Redwoods, Big Sur, and the California and Oregon coastline have brought so much beauty to my life. This is just a tiny drop in all there is to see. Our life together has mostly been long, full work weekdays and weekends taking care of errands, but we have seen a little of this country's loveliness, and it has made a good life and has also been a great source of comfort. And on this last page of this writing she did about Tom, there's a beautiful picture of Tom and Lily as a young girl on one of the many vacations they took together. And he had been honored by your music. Thank you for sharing.
It's hard to be up here today without Tom. He was always the grounding force for our entire family. But it's an honor to be here, and Betsy had asked me to speak. I've spent countless thousands of hours with him over the last 4 years, going back and forth to treatments is where I learned his love of music, and you have to listen to it, L-O-U-D, loud. When trying to put together something today, it was really hard to find words. The man was just very unique and tender. When that's what we think of him, that's what we like to respond as, very tender. One of the stories that I would like to share, it spans a 20-year difference. It's a very simple story. When I lived with him as a teenager, Tom recognized that I loved SpongeBob SquarePants at the time, and he decorated my entire room as SpongeBob. One day he came home with a 4-foot piñata of SpongeBob. And fast forward 20 years, the day after my graduation this year, we had tickets to a SpongeBob play. And him and I went, a 30-year-old and a 60-year-old in our 30s and 60s, and we were the only ones that didn't have children with us. And we absolutely enjoyed that show. He commented the entire time, that character looks like Patrick, and he knew everybody. And that's just spanning a 20-year difference. I would like to leave on a true Tom fashion note. Him and I had a thing of sending jokes back and forth. I sent him just recently this joke, why did the fish blush? because it saw the ocean's bottom. And he responded with, Tom's joke for you is, what do you call a bagel that might fly? A plain bagel. So I would like to share with his dad's sense of humor, and he would be very honored to see everyone here. Thank you.
I'm imagining that many of you have been to their home. I want you to imagine with me walking up from a busy street, up the walk, and there in the garden is St. Francis, who greets you, this typical garden statue of St. Francis. But at the front door, Snow White. I've not seen those two paired before. And as I listened to story after story come tumbling out of the family, I thought, you know, Snow White and St. Francis, both lovers of nature, both very approachable individuals in real time and in fictional world. I'm sorry to break the news to you that Disney is fictional. Both in real time and in fiction, here are two characters that love nature. And I thought to myself, after all these stories and wonderful memories came pouring out, they've got a third person in their trinity, and it's called Tom. Those of you who knew him well know what a kind soul he was and is. And you no doubt have many stories that a whole reception back there awaits for you to share those stories. But I would like to ask you to, in honor of Tom, let us have some silence in this space, to watch, to listen, and maybe to come up with one word only, maybe two, that describes for you Tom. And we'll popcorn those out so that if Betsy can't hear them directly, maybe you can write it down and put it, oh, that's an even better idea. Write it down on your program, and we can show it to her as we walk by, sorry. So as you're thinking about your one word, and before the silence, let me share with you the one words that the family shared with me. When asked to describe Tom, here's what they said. Beautiful, gift giver with a hyphen, so it's technically one word. Bountiful, kind, a nurturer, tender, loving, giving, reader, patient, music, strength, quirky, soulful, humorous, jokester, precious, presence, and adventurous, now off on a brand new adventure. Let us be in a moment of silence and think of that one word, write it down, and those of you who would like, I'll call on you in a moment. You can stand and share that one word. I welcome you into Tom's silence here. What one word would you like to speak into the silence? We'll start over here. Anyone over in this section? Stand if you wish. Yeah, thank you. How about in this next section here? Anyone wish to stand and share one word? Oh, you look like you're itching back there. Did you have a word? No? Okay. Next. Dependable. How about, oh. Yeah, yeah. Joyful. How about next? If you'd like to stand and share one word. And over here. Yeah. Yeah. Betsy, you're going to see these on programs in just a bit. I really encourage you to do that so that you can share with her your word for Tom. Maybe she'll want to hold on to that program and remember those words in other moments and on other days. It's a great gift that we give, that gift of the memory and the impact of a beloved in your life. So thank you for that. Let us be in a spirit of prayer. Holy and gracious God, we pause in this moment of life to give thanks for life, the life that Tom lives and lived among us and lives still with you and in our memories. We thank you for the impact that he has made here in his time on earth. We thank you for the kindness that he has shown, the honesty that he has revealed, the way that he has cared for and tended the gardens in each of the hearts of those he loves. We thank you for those who have stepped forward boldly and bravely today to honor him with their words, their music, their hopes, and yes, even their grief. We thank you, gracious one, for all of these gifts and ask that you would, in your magical, miraculous way, take of these gifts and make of them a fabric, a quilt of healing for those who grieve. We ask that you would take of these stories and these memories and make of them a cloak that warms on cold and bitter days, that you would make of them ground in which our own seeds can be planted as his were, in ways that we can live honoring him still with our own lives. We ask all of this in the spirit of life itself. Amen. And now we come to a time of final blessing, when we give thanks for the spirit of earth, deep peace of the earth to you. May you stand firmly, knowing what gives you stability. Deep peace of the flowing air to you, which imparts to you energy and life. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. May the light of your life shine brightly. And deep peace of the running wave to you. May the stream of your life flow unimpeded. Deep peace of the spirit of life to you. May your life shine brightly, and offer nourishment and kindness and love wherever you may step next. Amen, and blessed be. I invite you, after a moment of silence, to follow the family and I out to the parking lot with your word, and let us offer Betsy the love that is in this room to enfold her from this time forward.